Happy New Year. Welcome everyone to our New Year's Day podcast. We are excited for what 2024 holds in store. 2023 slash the end of 2022 for you has been a huge year for us. We both got married and moved jobs, moved cities. But we've done a lot, man. It's been cool. So definitely pumped to see what 2024 has in store. Davis, what does New Year's and goal making, all that stuff mean to you?
Hmm. I don't know. I think this is the first year in a lot of years I have not spent a tremendous amount of time. I started to actually make notes about it earlier. Well, you didn't ask me what they were yet. So, what does it
Go
mean
ahead.
to me? What does it mean to me? I don't know. I think it's just a good time to reflect, right? I think I spend a lot of time thinking anyway, but was talking to my wife this morning and really just thinking about tomorrow because I mean Saturday's a day we're both not working, of just reflecting and thinking about, what are some things we've done well, not just within our own relationship but others, but then also what some things that we can get better at. And so one of those, we just want to be, for our family, want to be more opening and welcoming to allow people into our home, right? Like God says that how you treat the least of these is how you treat me, right? I want to be a more opening home and let people in that, you know, people accepted me when I was at my worst. And so, how do we replicate that and invite people in? So, for me, my aunt was always great at, doesn't matter who you are, where, what background or whatever you have going on in life, she's always has an open door to people. So, I mean, there's some tact. You don't want to just bring in people that are strangers, right? That you don't know, or someone you feel like you're going to end up getting hurt by. But like, you know, to me, there is fellowship and having family and friends over and people new in your Bible study or your work or whatever, and just being able to have a community and get people at home, right? Because Walker has done a great job of talking about how, he was on the road by himself before. And if we weren't together, meaning in distance and spending those nights together talking about the podcast, it would have been lonely, right? And so, how do we find those people on the job site that have been growing those relationships? Or for Grace, there's a travel nurse that she's been working with and like to have her over and maybe some of their friends. Like, just how do you build more of a community, because it's already a lonely world, right? But then to go back to your question, and let you have a turn. I don't think we slow down enough in an Americanized society, especially in construction. So to sit in your thoughts and to think about, A, this is what I have done good at, because everybody's done good at something this year, which is important. But then B, this is what I can get better at. I think it's crucial, and then you just go from there. So Walker, what does that mean to you?
No, you hit the nail on the head. It's exactly that. I think I'm not a huge fan of, right, new year, new me, goals, blah, 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 because most people's goals fizz out within a month, right? You see, I'm not excited to go to the gym starting the first week of January because it's going to be packed. But I know a month later it's going to be back to normal, because most people give up within 4 weeks of their goals. But I think that you can use it as a time, like you were saying, as time of reflection, a time of looking back on what you did good, what you didn't do well, what you want to do better. My wife and I sat down briefly and made a few goals for us, and like physical, financial, relational, mental goals kind of stuff for the next year, and just stuff that we can help each other achieve, and so I know that I think you come at it a part of, hey, I know what you want to do. How can I help you get there? And she goes, hey, I know what you want to do. How can I help you get there? Right. It's just supporting each other, and having that support network is huge. Like you were just saying, right? Especially for people who are traveling or are away from home and don't have that network. They don't have a spouse, or they don't have friends near them to help to support them, to have over, to have a fellowship. It's definitely huge to try to look out for those around you to see, how can I help you? How can I help you meet your goal this year? How can I invite you to do something to give you company, right? Maybe if they're lonely, like you were saying, it's definitely been brutal if I didn't have you right down the road. And I think vice versa. It was really good for both of us. I think one thing, I guess we're getting to, we don't have to get into goals, right? But I think one thing that I reflected on too is just looking back on the year and what have I gotten worse at that I want to get better at is having my phone near me too much, because I've learned that if I look at my phone too much or technology or whatever, my brain gets a little cloudy. I don't think as clearly because I'm constantly, I guess, distracted, right, by a lot of stuff going on. So I would like to use this year. I've been starting to put my phone in a drawer or to put it upstairs out of my reach, and trying to be more intentional with my wife and with my time daily that the Lord's given me. And how can I not sit in front of the TV, watch next Netflix all day, right? But use 2024 as a year of just getting better in multiple areas of my life. So for me, that is kind of the main goal. My one of my words, kind of two of my words this year are action and finish, right? I want to take action quicker than normal, and whatever I start, I want to make sure I finish it. My wife's is discipline, just to make sure that we're doing the things that we don't want to do. And it's really the first year I've had a word for the year, but I've enjoyed it so far. I like it. I try to think about every day of how can I get better at doing this one thing. That was a little bit of a ramble. I kind of answered a lot of different questions, but that's what it means to me and how I'm trying to approach 2024 this year.
Right. I think what you said was awesome because to me, and you think about it, most of the people think of the new year and they automatically think like fitness or diet, right? You challenged me whenever we first started this journey about talking about how, I want to try to do like one hard thing a year, right? Or you met someone that they did like, man, I'm going to become a person that can, what's it called? Go skydiving by themselves and like whatever it is. I'm going to
Yeah.
be the
Yeah.
person that can, run an Ironman or do an Ironman this year, right? So it's not, okay, I'm going to only do keto diet and I'm going to run 77 miles every day. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to be that super or that specific granular because, going back to atomic habits, right? What you really need to do is just approach it from an environment change, but then also a habit. Like, what are the micro habits you need to do to be able to reach those habits? So, I like what you were saying because for a lot of people, they get all excited and then a month later they quit, or right behind Valentine's Day, right? They
Mhm.
quit at every single gym. But what are you going to do differently this year? So, to say all that, let's take a break and now go towards what I do like about the new year. It's a new beginning. And
Mhm.
so I want to challenge people to think, you don't have to wait till January 1st of any year to have a new beginning, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's really what Walker's trying to say, right? It's all right to have goals. It's all right for you to strive for something. Like, that's not what he's saying. I have goals too. I strive for something. I know Walker does in his own life, but man, that new beginning's the next morning, or that new beginning's in an hour, whenever you decide to make that choice. And I think that's really the culmination of what this year's really been for me, right? Like, I love how you said action and finish, right? That new beginning of when you want to start something's right around the corner, but am I going to one, start it, two, sustain it, then three, finish it, right? Instead of just
Good.
there's a new idea.
It's
So
good.
I think that's crucial as well. So I say all that because we want to encourage people. If you have a fitness, physical, financial, whatever boundary or goal bucket in your life, go strive for that. But don't be in this next year of 2024 being hesitant to go, okay, well, crap, I broke it the second week of January and I can't pick it back up the next week or the next day, right? Like you mentioned this, Walker. If I take one day off, don't make it 2 days off, right? It's okay to rest. It's okay to slow down. Man, if I get to two, I'm for dang sure I got to go do something. I'm not letting it be 3 days off in the gym, right? Just
Yep.
have that mindset about you with everything that you do.
No, that's huge. And I think that's exactly what this podcast was about. We just want to give you guys kind of the way that we think about things, and maybe it will encourage you to do something in your own life. Like Davis was just talking about, it doesn't have to be January 1st when you take action. Why not now? Why not just do it now? Start at this second, start tomorrow, even. You don't have to wait 3 weeks in order to start something and to make it a goal. I think that's what a lot of people let a I think that's the thinking that a lot of people follow too often, especially with New Year's goals. Like, I'm going to start January 1st. No, just start right now. It doesn't have to be a new year to make yourself better. A little bit at a time, like you mentioned, just a tiny little bit. You don't have to run 77 miles, but you can run one.
That's
You
right.
can run half a mile. It
Right.
doesn't sound like a lot right now, but compounded over time, yeah, it's going to be a lot.
Right. I mean, think about that too. I mean, I think about the mile. I'm going to use that example, right? I'm going to use the mile, then also like diet. So for so many people, when they think of, I can't go run a marathon. Well, yeah, you can't go run a marathon right now, right? But say you can't even run a mile, right? Well, that's okay. You don't need to run a mile the first week.
Hmm.
Go out around the block, go walk for 5 minutes, right? Our brains are so wired to think spontaneous right now,
Yep.
don't want to go through the hard things, right?
So
So
good.
if you're fat and you're overweight and you want to go run a marathon, go walk around the block for 5 minutes and wear yourself out and come home. All right. Then the next day, go try to do it again. And then as
Do
you
it for
slowly
6 minutes the
progress,
next day.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, all you have to do is small incremental changes, right? And that's what happens. Your life starts to change. But what's the fear behind that, right? That I'm going to fail.
Mm.
So there's a flip side to action and getting out there, because that means I'm actually going to have to do something. If I don't do it, I'm going to have to face myself. So again, it just kind of turns into more than just a habit. It becomes more of a mental side as well. But then also think about that with food, right? Like Walker, you're pretty good about staying on in tune with your diet. A lot of people, right? It slips during the holidays. That's all right. But man, get back on it and don't think about like, man, I have to have a keto or a paleo or whatever type of diet. Just,
Yeah. You
man,
don't.
if you eat whole foods, right, and you do a good job of just staying on the outside of the grocery store, you're going to be okay, right? Like that's the big thing, because we don't need to over stress about, well, man, this is the macros and micros of all this stuff, right? Just eat well for the generality of your week. And if you got a cheat meal every day or week, right, like that's all right. But just, we have to spend more time understanding and encouraging ourselves instead of just beating ourselves up and being fearful because we messed up. So,
Huge. Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, let's end on that one because you knocked it out of the park. It's little increments, guys. If you look at a mountain and you say, I'm going to climb that, it gets really discouraging to see how tall it is. But if you just
mm,
say, I'm going to take one step at a time until I reach the top, eventually you'll get there, you know?
mm, mm.
So, guys, Happy New Year. We hope that this encouraged you a little bit. It encouraged me. Definitely helped me refocus on some things I want to do for sure. And am excited about 2024. Excited what Davis and I got going on, and then just our personal lives as well. What we have going forward. I know Davis has some two big changes in his life coming up, and a lot of things going from there. So we're excited for it. But guys, Happy New Year. Appreciate you as always. Reach out to us. Contact@langfoundation.com.